What's up, everybody? Welcome to another episode of B is for Build. In this episode, it's the final assembly of the RX7. I plan on wrapping this thing up tonight, driving it out the door around 5 a.m. and heading straight down to Disneyland. That's the game plan. Stay tuned. If you guys remember in the last episode where we left off, we welded this little AST return line onto our brand new CX Racing solid aluminum radiator. Right now I'm gonna go ahead and plug this guy and give it a little pressure test, make sure it's all sealed up and pressurized and whatnot, you know, not leaking, and then I'm gonna install it in the car. The boys are back in town. We got Mark over here and Dennis is back there. And these are my helpers for the day until, also Chelsea's coming, she's on the way. So we got started on radiator stuff, and unfortunately the CX Racing radiator right here, now that we did some more test fitting, it's meant to do more of a vertical mounting to leave room for your intercooler kit and some other stuff, which needs a lot of different radiator hoses and things that we don't have access to right now. So we kind of got really cool parts that we don't have the supporting parts to put them on. So that radiator is out of the question. Luckily, Mark has a solid aluminum radiator. Oh wow, it's right there. Just brought it in. So we have another radiator. So then our aim went towards the fan. Mark was saying that the cooling is super important on these cars. We can't run with just one fan. So we're gonna see if by any stroke of luck this fan blade will fit onto this fan motor, because the fan motor works, the fan blade's just popped off in some weird way. So we're gonna see if we can hodgepodge that together. If not, Mark's gonna run and go get a new one. While we're doing that, Dennis is over here and he's working on the suspension, trying to get it that low life. Success. The hubs on the other fan and that fan are pretty similar, so we kind of replaced the hubs and the fan blades, screwed it all in there. It's a little bit shorter, you can tell, but it fits, it'll work. We're gonna go ahead and wire that up, and that's it. That's my fan. Until I get home from California and put the right one in there. You guys know I'll actually do that, totally. I do that with all my cars. Moving on. Okay, we got the fans wired up. We got the radiator ready to be installed. Dennis has got the spacers on the rear, so you're gonna see the car going up and down a little bit as he's checking ride height. We've got the radiator installed, radiator fans installed. The next thing that we're gonna do, also the back is sat down, but the car's still up in the air, so we'll show you that later. Next thing we're gonna do is try our aftermarket airbox and see if we can make that fit. Dennis is successfully slamming the hell out of the car. We're getting it going. We need to trim some more of that fender away. I was pretty cautious when I did the trimming, so we're gonna need to trim some more, but yeah, I think you got it pretty well done. Yeah, the inner fender right here needs to go, all of it. And the airbox is installed. Now what we're gonna do is we're gonna take this top cover off and put there's some K&N air filters that go in here, and go ahead and install those right in there, and then we'll be done with that. All right, we got the air filters installed, the whole air box is installed and done. So we're moving on to putting the stock intercooler back in. I don't know if I said this, but yeah, that intercooler isn't gonna work. It's meant with the vertical mount radiator, which we're not doing. And then we couldn't have that. So we're not doing the intercooler either. We're going back to stock intercooler. And that should button up our engine. So then we'll fill it up with coolant and start testing it. There we are, we've got our ride height settled now. These springs and struts are gonna lower down a little bit as we drive. So they're gonna settle in a little bit. So it's gonna get a little bit lower than that, but that's pretty much as low as we can go because the side skirt in the car is just a couple inches off the ground. And it looks fantastic. And over here, we're all back and buttoned up. Next thing, Marc is gonna start taking a look at the Rocket Bunny LEDs that go in the front bumper. They're gonna connect up to those plugs over there. We're gonna have to figure out exactly how the blinker signal is sourced to the LEDs and make that work. And while he does that, we're gonna think of something smart to do. And Chelsea's back and working on the interior. Woohoo! While Marc is working on the LED wiring for the Rocket Bunny, Dennis and I are gonna start working on the fenders. If you guys remember, we didn't do a full cut, so we're gonna pull the fenders off, do the full cut, and then actually drill and riv nut those in so we can do the final mounting. Marc has figured out the mysteries of the Rocket Bunny LED lighting. So when we go on to accessory, we're gonna have whites, and then we have blinkers on that side and on the other side. There we go. And then that's driving. And then they automatically shut off when you turn the car off. So that's pretty awesome. Now we're gonna go ahead and kind of finalize all the wiring, and then I'll bring in the bumper and we'll drill all the holes out of it and install them into the bumper. We've got all the wiring done and ready for the Rocket Bunny, so the next step I gotta do is drill out these holes. Also got done, the spoiler is now installed. Looks fantastic. We started installing using our black hardware. So this is our black hardware, Allen key with the beauty washer on it. That's how we're gonna do the whole rest of the car. Damn, that spoiler looks really, really good. I'm so happy about that spoiler. Whew. Okay, so it's time to drill out that bumper and get the LED lights installed. We got the LEDs installed and we got down to testing again, and the computer that controls these things absolutely lost its mind. So we have it set up now, so we have blinkers, but we cannot get the daytime running lights. It's definitely a computer issue. We troubleshot through every single thing, check voltage on every single wire. It's 100% a computer issue, and you know what? That's okay. As long as I have blinkers, and we can continue on. So the next thing that we're gonna go ahead and do is we trimmed this fender right here. We're gonna come over here, trim this other fender up, and then the guys are gonna help me mount both the fenders to the bumper and the bumper to the car and finalize the fitment of the bumper and the fenders. And hell, why not the headlight covers too? Yeah. Jesus, that was a whirlwind of working. The guys just left. Huge thanks. I can't say this enough. Thank you guys so much to Marc and Dennis for coming out and helping me today. There's no way I would have been able to get this project done on time without your guys' support. That was a really fun working session. Let me show you guys where we got to. Oh, and we are not done. Don't think about tuning out now. There's more to do. I'm just saying, this is a status update. So we finally, for the first time, got the bumper bolted up to the fender and the core support, and then the fender flares bolted onto the fender so they match up with the bumper. The way that Rocket Bunny does this with molding this last piece into the bumper is really, really not kind on people trying to fit panels. It makes it a lot harder. So the better one would be the multiple piece one where this is its own piece, because then you can kind of cheat and move it up to meet with the fender flare. But we got it on there and we got it how I want it. We still need some speed nuts in the sides here, and that will get done. But most importantly, the bumper has a little bit of sag to it. That side stays nice and high and tight, and this side's like sagging down just a little bit. If I were to close the hood, you would see the hood would match up over there, and this little thing would have a little tiny gap, but if you push up from the bottom a little bit, it'll close that gap in, and that will also give us the clearance for our tire, because our tire doesn't have enough room to actually turn. So I'm gonna go ahead, that's the next thing I'm gonna build. I'm gonna get underneath and build something that's gonna come out and support here and support here. And that support, even though they'll be equal on both sides, will have more of an effect of over here. Other than that, what else do we have done? We got the rear spoilers on. You guys have already seen this, but damn, it looks good. It looks so good. The back end of this car is killer right now. And the interior carpet is installed, dash is installed, all the gauges, all the center console stuff is installed. We need to put our new steering wheel in, and then we need seat brackets and seats in, and then that'll be a wrap too. So I'm gonna go ahead and get the car up on the lift, and I'm gonna build those front supports to push this bumper out and support the bumper so it doesn't sag anymore. Fix the front bumper with a little support that you can see underneath there, but once I add the front lip, that'll all be covered up. Next thing I want to do, install the headlight covers. I don't know how those headlight covers just took me like an hour to install, but they got really stubborn. And we lost a little bit of paint, which was heartbreaking. But that's what you get when you work with day-old paint. It's very, very fragile, so we'll have to come back in with some touch-up paint. So there's one last thing I want to do before I call it a night. It's like 2:30 a.m., so anything left will just have to be left for tomorrow. I want to do that front lip. Let me get that front lip on there. This lip turned out to be so perfect. So this was the lip that we actually bought for the M5. It's a polyurethane lip, and it didn't fit the M5 at all. It turns out to fit this car absolutely perfectly, and it does exactly what I talked about bringing the front lower section of the bumper out. So now when you look at it and you draw a line down, we have this little piece and it kind of comes just out a little bit more than the top of the bumper. So we don't have this inward looking line now. It's kind of a straight down line like you'd see in a traditional bumper. Also, this lip has a little kind of lip of its own where it's thick. It's got some thickness to it. So it's not just a straight splitter. It's kind of like a decorative front lip. And that is really helping the body line because it has a little bit of meat to it. It's helping the body line. It's helping represent a little bit more mass at the bottom there. So I'm actually coming out of this happier with that than I was with the idea of running like an aluminum splitter with the rods through there. Also, what I was worried about is you could see how low that is to the ground. I mean, that's just a couple inches. It's probably gonna scrape, but that's polyurethane and quite flexible and stuff, so I don't really have to worry about it. So I put the stock Rocket Bunny lip on there. You can see that. It's about 10 different rivets. Not rivets, riv nut screw things with the washers on them. And then that is screwed into that front lip from underneath. It came out looking really good. So I was supposed to finish everything tonight, but it's 3:45 a.m., so that's not gonna happen. But I'll have to wrap up the last few things before we get on the road tomorrow. But that's it for tonight. This car looks so damn good. There's some small imperfections, there's some body panel gaps that I'm not super stoked about, and there's some small things, but overall, just stepping back and looking at it, I'm overjoyed. I'm so happy. I'm really falling in love with the looks of this car. So it's awesome. I'm exhausted, but it feels great. It feels great because I'm creating something that is exactly like I imagined, which is really cool. So I'm gonna head out for today. I'll come back tomorrow early in the day. We'll wrap up and then we'll hit the road, and I'll take you guys along for the road trip down to California. We're gonna drive this car 1,000 miles over 2 days. It should be awesome, and hopefully it doesn't break down. But either way, it'll be interesting. So thank you guys so much. If you want to help out our sponsor, head over to the sponsor of this build's website, JDM Buyer. They are an importer of JDM parts from Japan. You can bid on parts from Japan and buy them and bring them over with JDM Buyer. Or their partner company, if you want to get an entire vehicle, like I did with this FD, we got this whole thing for 3,000 bucks. You can contact their partner company, RB Motoring, and the links to both of those will be in the description. A lot of you guys commented about the new merch. We do have new merch, but since Chelsea and I are leaving and we do all the merch in-house, we don't use any third-party companies or anything like that. Since we're leaving, we can't really release it. But what I'll do is I'm gonna release it for a pre-sale just a few days before. That way we can have it all shipped out to you guys pretty quickly. So I'll let you know when the pre-sale is up for that. If it says on the screen right here that it's up, then it's up right now. But thanks for being interested in the merch. This is the most badass merch. It's got the last 4 builds that we've worked on, and I'm super stoked about it. That's it, guys. I'm gonna go get some sleep. Thank you so much for watching. I appreciate the hell out of you guys. This has been a really, really fun journey. Built an RX7 in 21 days pretty much, and tomorrow we'll finish it off. And I'll see you then. Peace!
Come on!